Hello and welcome back to Fandom Fridays, where we proceed to check out all the fanfics that are not pony related. Why? Well, in this festive time of year, we need to remember the fanfics that are not as fortunate as this. So, what type of stories do we want to read today? Well, I just realized that we don't see the Christmas side for One Piece enough. I mean, we know that some sort of holiday exists because, well, in the episode of Chopper, when Chopper is flying for that start time, somebody actually says Santa, and I can guarantee you there's a few pics of One Piece and Christmas outfits. So maybe JC isn't born there, but who knows? Maybe there's some form of Christmas. So thus we're going to read a One Piece Christmas fic, and I just happened to find a really nice looking one called Ghost of Christmas Past. So, sit back and relax as we here at the Treeberry Memorial Library are proud to present Ghost of Christmas Past. Enjoy. Ghost of Christmas Past by Pamplemousse. Pamplemousse? Pamplemousse? Pamplemousse. Pample! Chapter 1. Luffy. Ace! The short cry was all he heard before the young, freckled boy was tackled around the waist by his exuberant, cheerful shadow. Glancing down, Ace saw his younger brother's smile split his face, and it melted the ice that had been freezing around his heart ever since he lost Sabo. Ruffling the straw hat on Luffy's head, Ace pushed his brother off him. When he fell on the rear with a pound on his face, Ace stuck his tongue out. What's got you so cheerful? Data told me. He tried to consider what this might mean, but Luffy's random statements were legendary, and he drew a blank. He munched on a leftover gayer meat he had been eating, carefully eyeing his brother's thieving hands. Told you what? That it's Christmas! Luffy plopped down by the fire, still grinning and humming to himself, waiting for Ace to slip up so he could get some spare meat. He remembered the morning's chat with Dayton clearly. Tired of seeing everyone so upset after what had happened in Trash Mountain, he asked if there was a time when everyone was happy. As he had explained lots of times, and that holiday was just like what was happening at that moment. So, that must mean it's the right time of year. Ace, on the other hand, was thoroughly confused. He never celebrated the holiday before. No biological family to be with, and no money to spoil his new relatives. It was an event he knew but never participated, like so any others for a cursed boy like he. Dayton had mentioned the concept and discussed it in detail, though, and was pretty sure it didn't happen in the middle of summer. Perhaps he forgot to mention that to Luffy, who was insistent he was right, despite the blazing heat and chirping of mosquitoes in the late evening. Luffy. Yep, Dayton said that Christmas was a time of giving in China for good. We beat those guys in the fire, right? And she gave me some food right after, so it must be Christmas. But there are no trees. Maybe they were all burned part of the trash. Ace wanted to laugh. He tried to keep it in, not wanting to embarrass his young companion, but it was too hard. Luffy's simple mind, mistaking Dayton's easy-to-digest explanations, was too adorable. His childish glee broke through the expressive quiet of the mountain. When Luffy turned his hurt eyes on the quiet and torn off the tail of Gayer. Smiling, Ace handed it to the younger boy. Merry Christmas, brother. Watching his only family chew happily on the remaining food, Ace smiled. It may not be the right time of year, but the warm showing in his heart was much better than the searing darkness he had felt recently. Maybe Christmas could come a little early this year. As the sun sank below the sky, and time took hold of the world, Luffy stopped gnawing at the gear bone and curled up next to his older brother. He turned to his back and watched the stars, just like Ace, before muttering quietly, Ace? An eye cracked open. Huh? Do you think Sabo will be enjoying Christmas as well? Staring in the night sky, the still smoldering mountain hidden by darkness, Ace felt more content than he had in a long time. I'm sure he is. And somewhere, Dragon looks at a poor injured boy, smiles, and tucks him in. Chapter 2. Zoro. fine blanket of snow settled over the landscape, freezing the water in the fields and leaving most of the inhabitants of the island to retreat to the warmth of their homes. But in the yard of one simple dojo, a single child ignored the snow chilling him to the core, and continued his katas. Knuckles were red raw as he gripped the hilts of his bokken, and he struggled for breath in the crisp air. But even as he slipped on the snowy ground, he continued regardless. The rest of the boys were back home with their families, and any who had no choice to remain were looking at the young Roronoa with alarm. None could quite figure out how stupid the boy really was. Eventually, after all the remaining students had called him inside with no success, a young, slim girl stepped on the porch. Her slim, blossoming figure was hidden as she wrapped herself in a thick coat, scarves, and mittens. "Zorbo! You idiot! Come inside!" He ignored her, like the others, and continued to practice motions. She didn't like that one bit, and decided to show him with her fists on his head. Ow! Green hair was covered in snow as Kawina pushed her young rival into the snow. She chuckled to herself, watching as Zoro picked himself up and tried to look unaffected. But his arms were curled around his chest, in the thin sweater he trained in. She noticed his hands were still curled into the shape on the hilts, so the bokken themselves were on the floor. "Moron! Do you think that getting sick is going to help you beat me? Shut up! A warrior doesn't let himself be beaten by the elements!" She poked him in the center of the furrowed brow, and gently took one of his frozen hands. Startled by the tenderness against the frostbitten skin, Zoro tugged his arm back, forcing Kuina to pull even harder. Breath came out of his mouth in visible puffs of steam as he glared at the girl, losing the small tussle that ensued. Kuina only smiled, taking off her mitten and putting it over the icy fingers. "Maybe a warrior does it, but you're a long way from that. You haven't even beaten me yet." The taunt got to the boy the same way it always did, and he made to pull away and pick up the training swords. But the mittens now on his hands made them difficult to hold. Knowing that he was beat for now, he watched Kawina go back inside the dojo. "Come on inside, stupid. It's Christmas." Zoro scoffed. "So? I can still train?" Kawina regarded him, grinning superiorly. "We're supposed to celebrate the new year, idiot. All the other kids have gone back home. We got cake inside." "You know I don't like sweet things," Zoro thought. They could turf him out for the fortnight, but he just stayed in the yard. He had nowhere else to go, just like the other boys Sensei let stay in the dojo. Holidays are for people who have others to share it with, and the dojo is a place for learning, not sharing. Kuina knew that Zoro was thinking as usual, and as usual ignored it. She just enjoyed teasing the boy. It made her victories all the sweeter. Besides that, she was always right. She knew what was best for the boy better than he did. "But, Christmas is about helping the poor, sick, and needing. There's nothing we can do to cure stupidness. Well, we can give you food and shelter, like we do the rest." Stupid Kuina. Show off Kuina. He should stay despite her. But it is cold out, and the mittens are warm for her touch. And maybe Sensei will let him have a warm cup of sake as a treat. He ran inside, watching the advancing back of his rival as he always did. It may be charity, but it's better than being alone any day. Chapter 3. Usopp. Oh god, this is going to hurt! Mama! Mama! I'm either going to end up crying by the end of this, or I'm going to end up being dawed. Pachina quickly hid the blood-stained tissue. She had been coughing underneath her bedsheets. Turned a bright smile under her son. Wait, Usopp's mom had a name? Despite having to care for her alone, he never looked miserable to see her, so he could never bear to look anything but happy when she saw him. The pain always lessened when he was around anyways. What? Is it Usopp? Young boy, childlike wonder written all over his face, dragged a chair to his mother's bedside and jumped on, gesticulated wildly. "I saw him! I saw Santa!" She hit her wince with a false shock as he sat up, smiling despite the pain, Encouraged by her response, the young boy continued. Uh-huh. I was out on the cliffs and I saw him. A big ship sailing across the sky. And it landed on the beach and he got out and left all these gifts all over the shore. Is it Santa meant to ride a sleigh? The boy stuttered, as he could see his mind making up the lie so he could continue. Well, yeah, but he had so much to give to good people all over the world, it didn't fit on a sleigh, so he upgraded to a boat. The reindeer still work for him now. I saw him hoisting the sails and steering the rudder. Bettina's laugh was delicate, but heartfelt. Reindeer in a ship's crew? How bizarre. No, they were the best. That's better than the elves. Everyone knows they're too short. Really? Bettina petted the bed, encouraging her son to join her. He clambered up and curled up against her, as he played with his long dark curls, nodding along as he continued his tale. His hair was so much like his father's. It was this time of the year the woman missed Yasop the most, as he knew Usopp did too. That's why Bettina always tried to make it special for the boy, though getting sick did throw a spanner in the works. Glancing at her excited son, she tapped his nose playfully and asked, Did you talk to him? Curls bounced as he shook his head in the negative. No, he was really fast. He just put the gifts down and was about to fly away so he could visit all the other children. But he saw me, waved, and smiled. Wow, that makes you really lucky then, Usopp. Wide dark eyes gazed up at her. How? Well, Santa only lets the really special children see for him. So for him to wave at you, that must make you extra special. Maybe it was his way of thanking you for being so good to your mother this year. Usopp blushed, looking down at the sheets. Sure, it'd been hard helping care for his mama, but seeing the smile on her face made it worthwhile. If he could keep that smile on her face, then everything was worth it. Her son's sweet embarrassment filled the old woman with warmth. Even when they weren't having to have a proper Christmas, with her too ill to cook dinner, or get up, or work to earn money for gifts, he would still pretend it was the best celebration ever. Leftovers from Maria-san's dinner would be a feast for him, and though she only managed to make him a simple grain catapult to replace his worn-out one, she knew he would praise again if it was made out of gold or jewels. Just like she intended to do with the shell, she knew Usopp was going to paint and say Santa left on the beach for her. Usopp gave her a kiss on the cheek, before climbing down gently and retrieving his paints, and Bettina's smile almost faltered. They both tried so hard to enjoy the season together. She just hoped she'd be around for the next one. Oh, God, ow, that one hurt! That one hurt! Ow! You need a moment? Yeah, just take a break.